Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today I'm replacing the front struts on my 2016 Chevy Silverado. I'm using the quick strut replacement, so I'm actually just gonna take this whole unit out and replace it with a new one. I'm not gonna mess with compressing springs and all that stuff. The price of these parts is so reasonable these days that, in my opinion, it's not worth the hassle, especially if you don't have the tool. So to replace this, obviously you got to take your wheel off, jack up the truck, put some jack stands under there in case that gives out. And then there's two 18mm bolts. I actually already removed those right under here. They go into these two holes on each side. Okay, and then we got these are 15mm bolts down here. These are 18 up here. There's three right here. So I'm gonna come in the hood down in here. Right down in there. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna go ahead and take those three out as well, and then this whole thing's gonna drop out. So once I get that out, I'll bring you guys back on. All right guys, so we got the old one out, and here's our new one that we're gonna replace it with. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna drop it down into here and slide the bolts up through the frame here, and go ahead and loosely put some nuts on here to hold it in place. And then we're gonna get a pry bar and basically slide the bottom of that strut right on top of the mounting points here. Okay, and then it's as simple as putting the bolts in and torquing everything down. Then you're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this dropped in. All right guys, so I got one nut holding it into place. Now I'm gonna come in from the top and put the other two nuts on and snug those down just a little bit. I'm still gonna keep it pretty loose because we gotta get the bottom in yet. All right, so we got the top bolts snugged up a bit, and now what we gotta do is we gotta get the bottom of that strut right onto its mounting point. So I'm going to take a pry bar here and basically go ahead and lift this up. All right, here I'm going to go ahead and see if you guys can see over here what I'm doing. I need two hands with this. Let's see if that gives me the room I need here. There we go. All right. All right. So there you guys can see, now it's sitting right on top in its mounting position. So now we're just going to put the bolts up through and snug them down, and then we're going to torque everything down to 37 foot-pounds. All right, I'll be right back once I get all these bolts in. All right, so I got my bolts in, so now I'm just gonna take a wrench, hold the nut on top, and then use my impact driver on the bottom side and go ahead and get this tightened up. And then I'll come back with the torque wrench and get it tightened down to its specs of, yeah, like I said, 37 foot-pounds. So, all right, let's go ahead and get that done. All right. Okay. And then we're going to torque that down. There's 37. There's 37. All right. And then I'm just going to go up top and do the same. So we're pretty much done here, guys. So yeah, that's how you do it. Honestly, it's not that bad. The hardest part for me is just my truck is so rusty. I live in Ohio, so you know, getting the wheel off, the wheel is seized, so that's frustrating. And then rusty old bolts, removing the old parts. So but other than that, getting it out and putting the new one in is pretty straightforward and pretty simple process. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.